5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings. If that doesn't get you in the mood, I don't know what will. That is why I love commentating on you guys. You just put on some serious entertainment. But welcome to the launch. It's episode 1 of a whole new series that is done for you and with you. Everyone to do with Mini Challenge Clubsport. And there's a very big reason why we've done this, and that's because it's driven from the top by some guys that I've known for many years. I always upset them when I tell them how long I've been commentating on them. But they're always great entertainment, and they're really pushing this championship forward. Let's find out what this show's going to be all about and what their plans are for this championship. Gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you? All right?
Did you like that intro? Do you like that, guys? That's the first time you've seen
That was
it.
good, that was.
Very
That
good.
was good. Really good. Really good. Really good.
I think,
Not
you know,
bad.
it summed it up, didn't it, guys? And this is why we spoke in the first place, is that, you know, you wanted to create something exciting because that's how you feel about this championship. I'm going to start with Rob. For no particular reason, you're actually right next to me here on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever commentated on you in anything other than minis.
Maybe. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I mean, I first raced in minis in 2005. You know,
Okay,
in
well,
the
that
mini
explains
in the John Cooper Challenge days. That's when it actually started.
Wow.
So I then drifted off and did a few other things: Seats, Lotus, Clios. But I found actually the minis were the only thing I was any good at. So I came back to it.
Glenn's questioning that there, Rob. Glenn's
Yeah.
questioning.
Well, you said I was good at everything. I mean, you know, I love the minis. I always have done. You know, I followed it when I wasn't racing in it. I did 160 races in them. It was just, you know, such good times, and it was very sad towards the end when we sort of found ourselves sort of tagged onto the BMWs, and I felt at that time I needed to do something about it. I knew the trouble was I got to a point, and Glenn will understand this, that, you know, some of the drivers that were coming along, you know, the parents were younger than me, and it was starting to get a bit embarrassing, and I thought that I need to maybe drop off a bit. So having sort of had a few thoughts about this one night after a few glasses of wine, it sort of progressed, and I found myself talking to Tom Halliwell. The last time I'd seen Tom was in the back of a truck when I was warning him about never to take me on the circuit, and persuaded him that we should meet up at Donington and try and get this thing off the ground. And, you know, and it has, and it's been character building. It's been hard work, but I think Tom and I will both admit that it's been hugely successful. And as we developed it, it was time to actually bring other people in, and Glenn fitted the job perfectly. So we were very pleased to get Glenn on board at the end of last year.
Totally.
Well, and I'll bring Glenn drop to you here, and the stories I've been hearing is, let me make sure I get this right, is that championship coordinator, technical scapegoat. I mean, boss of technical. And you used to run a team that involved Rob, but you managed to wait until Tom had left till you became the boss of that team.
Yeah, basically, I deferred my management until I realised that Tom had gone, and then I thought, right, now's the time to start.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we've now got our own backup.
Yeah, so
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So yeah, I used to run my own cars and the friends' cars and stuff way back, just doing club racing and things like that. And then I decided to take a career change 5-6 years ago, and I got involved in motorsport full time. So got involved with a team where I happened to end up running Rob in minis. So and through that sort of relationship that's built over a few years and knowing the cars, knowing how the motorsport side of things work, towards the end of last year, when they realised I was looking at maybe changing again, they approached me and said, "Would you fancy doing this?" And I thought, well, it's ideal. It's the next step, really, isn't it? So it works out really well for me. So knowing the technical side of having run cars, so knowing how regs work and all that sort of thing, I was, as Rob keeps calling us, poacher turned gamekeeper. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so far, I think it's worked so far this year. I appreciated the opportunity, and I jumped on it. It's been, as Rob has said, it's definitely character building. It's quite entertaining at times.
I mean, the thing is, it's for Tom and I last year. It was such a learning curve. It'd be easy, and honestly, you know, Anthony Williams at Mini Challenge tried to put us off. I think he was relieved in the end when we decided to get on with it because he wanted to get his own back on us. And it was really very tough going early doors because you can't believe what's involved in running a series. It's so much easier to race. You know, you turn up, race, moan, and then go home. But when you're doing this, you just moan all the time. But no, I mean, I think Glen realised, you know, that it's you can't be everyone's best friend. You've got to be at arm's length, but you can also provide. You're dealing with different characters all of the time. Maybe the parent, you know, the driver who's not doing so well this weekend, the driver who's coming good. There's so many challenges, and I think that's part of the excitement for us. And I think also, as Tom will talk about, that we tried to create what we really wanted to do was create a championship that we would have wanted to race in when we were racing. Yeah. And we're getting there.
Yeah. And as a team manager as well, I think jumping into the role that I have, a lot of the people on the grid already knew me and my technical background, so that kind of helps as well. So you've already got, you're not coming in as a blind new recruit. They all kind of know you and they're all willing to talk to you. They all understand that you do have some idea what you're talking about, so it does help.
Yeah, no, totally.
And on that front, how do they then speak with you about, you know, they know that Glen knows what he's talking about, and then in comes you, Tom. I'm only joking, mate.
But they know the opposite.
Yeah. I'm just the mascot.
Yeah.
At a football ground.
No, you know, alluding to what Rob said, you know, when we set this sort of hare running, it was based upon what would we want to race in. You know, both me and Rob are very passionate about the Mini Coopers and the S's. You know, my background was that we're not, you know, always want to have a go in a 56 challenge car, tested one, couldn't raise the budget, got into one and had a great time. And when they started to fall by the wayside a little bit, and when we totally understand why, it seemed right to give it a go. And we've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, everything we can into it. And I'm very, very proud to sit here and where we are on grid numbers and the drivers we've got, the sort of the ferocity of the racing at times, and, you know, the commercial partners we've got who, you know, without them, we this wouldn't be happening, you know. And taking Glen on in this year has allowed me and Rob to sort of not sit back, but be able to focus on a different part of the championship in the development of it. You know, the weekends we can then sort of analyse in better detail, and with that attract, you know, further partners and further commercial support for the championship for the years to come. You know, this year we introduced Ravenol, which again is a huge brand to bring on board. You know, on top of AirTech and Garmin, you know, BMTR alongside Toyo. You know, and we've got further ones to announce for later this year and also going into next year. So no, it's really good. And we probably couldn't have done that without having Glen on board, because he's took an element of pressure away from us that's allowed us to focus on the actual championship.
Well, and I
think
mean,
we've
the
been-
key. Sorry, go on, Rob.
I think the key to it is that actually we've been able to. When we attracted Garmin at the start, that was a big plus for us, because with Garmin came, the kudos of Garmin. We're pleased that actually the relationship has been fantastic, because basically they've created the catalyst, which every driver who uses, who they purchase, and it's been a great relationship, especially with a company that size, and with us just as a sort of startup business. It's been very good to have their support, and it's great to see them come along to races and being involved and doing their bit. So we're very pleased to see not only that we have other partners like Norfolk Mini, who driver Neil Clark, he's been involved, Gary Patworth, they've been involved since we were racing, and they wanted to promote their business through the championship. And that it's little relationships like that we've been able to develop. And I think that actually because of that, the BARC have seen that we're quite serious about what we're doing, and have given us the opportunity to have some prime slots, because we know there is a pecking order that starts with BTCC and then down to British F3, so Beta GT, and then down to the trucks, and it filters through. But we picked up some prime slots. We were able to pick up live stream, which is good, and with that, it builds good relationships for the future, and it's really for the drivers too. For the drivers, it means that while we're able to do this, it means that it keeps the cost down for the drivers, and they get even better service.
Totally agree.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's quite hard to believe that this is only the second season. I mean, it just, what you've done already is quite incredible, Tom.
Oh, is that me, or us generally?
I was going to jump in here.
Yeah, go for it, Glenn.
One of the reasons I was very happy to take on this role is because obviously I ran cars in the championship in its first year. Yep. And you can see, even from that first year, you could see that obviously it's a growing championship. You could see the potential in it, and having known obviously Rob and Tom beforehand, the commitment that's going to be behind it. So it wasn't really much. It was pretty much a no-brainer for me to jump on board, because it's going to get driven forward, and that they're always looking to make it bigger and better than it can possibly be. I mean, you think there'd be year 1 and year 2 supporting trucks, the second biggest race championship in the UK. You can't really ask for much more than that as a driver wanting to go to a championship.
Agreed. I mean, you talk about this coming weekend. Okay, I'm now putting a timestamp on this recording, because this is a recording. Future episodes are going to be live, just so you know, and people who are watching it are able to ask questions and comments, and I'll put them up on the screen. But this weekend, Donington Park is the big truck fest up there. And Tom, you were making the comment that the infield camping, for example, is full.
It's full, yeah. I'll be honest. I didn't expect that. Economically and what's going on at the moment. But yeah, it's full. It's sold out, which just shows the sign of how many people are going to be there. I mean, we never really get confirmed figures, but we've been told on the grapevine that it was right up there last year with BTCC in terms of gate numbers. Which normally attracts the most people. The biggest four-wheel crowd at Donington for the year. So it's going to be an exciting weekend, and me and Rob, Glenn, we're really proud that we're there this weekend. And there's nothing better than for a racing driver than driving in front of a full crowd.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine, especially there. You get to see it as you're going down the Craners, the crowd all on the side there. It's going to be epic, and of course, it's a lot of stuff going off track as well. I think don't they put music on and stuff like that. You guys have got your own, because you've got a good sort of setup as the Mini Challenge Clubsport hub with your own music, your own DJ, pretty much, haven't you?
Yeah, well, we've set up this Sunset Garden, which it sounds very grand, and actually it is. Which basically means you turn up and get a free beer or a glass of Prosecco. But we encourage all our drivers and our partners to come along, and in the majority we'll get 95% come along and they enjoy it, and as long as they haven't got any issues with their cars, will come along for an hour. We've got a DJ races in our championship, Paul Sawyer, who puts a set together, and he actually releases this music on SoundCloud, and in fact the streaming that he did for the last meeting at Thruxton, they've had over 20,000 hits on on Spotify with it, which is amazing. I mean, so there's a lot of things that we're proud of. I mean, I know that last year we had one particular video from Donington, which I think might have been on the intro to this with Ross Alexander. He had over 104,000 hits on Instagram for that, and that's for us that's so good. The fact that he was going off the track and about to hit the wall doesn't matter to us. It was just to get the coverage, which was the important thing.
That's what the crowd's like.
I think, it's from that point of view, it's what we've got, and Tom and I have certainly raced in championships where it doesn't happen, but there's a good feeling in the paddock that, and a lot of this was down to Glen last year, when Glen was helping out lads and girls who were struggling with their cars. He was working for one team, but he was helping everyone out, and it created a fantastic sort of intimate feeling where there's competitiveness, which you must have, but also that if you've got a dodgy engine or somebody needs some help, there's someone in the paddock who would help you. And I think that we saw that. I mean, at the end of last year, we were going to have a bit of a little bit of a get together, and we said, okay, well we'll get together at Donington after the final meeting. And I said to Tom at the time, I thought we would probably have about 30 people turn up. Well, we had 104 turn up to that.
Wow.
Drivers and teams, and so that sort of gave us a sort of good feeling that maybe the fact that they hadn't said anything nice, but they certainly turned up and enjoyed it. So we knew we'd done something right.
Well, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, it's safe to say, as a commentator, when you have exciting racing, it makes our job a lot easier, to be honest with you. We don't have to create the entertainment. We're just retelling the story of what's happening on circuit. And you guys, always, without fail, it's great entertainment, and it must be even better from behind the wheel. So you're providing that for the drivers to come and enjoy. Great exposure in front of big crowds. But there's this big phrase that says you spend much more time in the paddock than you do on circuit on a race weekend. And the fact that you collectively have grabbed the ball by the horns on that and making sure it is that everybody is enjoying that time together in different ways.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, in the old days, we used to, fight in the paddock, but that's going back a long time. Nowadays, that sort of.
You just gone about Coombe earlier this year.
Yeah.
Can someone pass the jack handle?
Those days are long gone, I'm afraid, and actually, you get a lot more. By working together, and then actually it's wonderful to see. We've had instances where two drivers are chasing a class championship, and they've been helping out each other in the evenings with an engine change or damage from a fire, and we don't want that to go. And I think it's good that actually as I said to you earlier points, we've only lost drivers to them getting married or running out of budget. So we think we're doing something right, but we will always constantly evolve. And we the three of us are always working on ways, however batty they are, to come up with things that will, give drivers a little bit more.
Well, and on that front, take the opportunity to say as well, where you say the three, obviously you've engaged with myself and Visual PR to try and do this, where we'll give exposure to the drivers, lots of the stories behind the scenes, maybe we'll chat to winners, partners, we'll get the partners on and we'll chat to them about what they do, their involvement, why they're involved in Mini Challenge, Clubsport, all of those kind of things. But there's also a person that couldn't make it tonight, but it's very important to sort of help keep that message going for everybody, publicise all of those people I've just mentioned, and that is Leanne Fay that certainly Tom and I have known for many years, back in MG days, for goodness sake, and she'll take the collateral that we give, and she's just a mad motorsport fan as well. And so it's to make sure that the championship and everybody involved with it is getting as much exposure and what have you as possible.
Definitely. I mean, and Leanne's actually going to be at Donington herself all weekend, so she's going to be doing a lot of live interviews, with that supported by Owen, who's our resident sort of photographer. He's going to be doing the camera work as well, so there'll be a lot of live social media posts going out, especially at Donington, to push forward on what we've always done, but we're trying to take it to the next level again, just again for competitors and partners, really, to show where we want to be.
which I think I have to applaud you guys, is absolutely brilliant. Add to that, by the way, I'll put up on the screen now, is that you mentioned about streaming this weekend, is that you've got the stream for Saturday. If you go to the BARC YouTube channel, you'll see that it's got them all there. Saturdays is one stream, and then you got the Sunday stream. For those that are seeing this on the screen, you'll see the links, but you can, as I say, go to BARC YouTube channel and you get to watch it. So I get this, and I really liked it as well. Why I was excited to work with you guys is that you're trying to promote the championship. You're trying to promote the drivers, promote the partners, do the things. I think you've all summed it up yourselves already. Is what you would have wanted when you were racing.
Absolutely. The interesting thing is, that where we created initially 4 different classes, really to fill the numbers, but the racing that you get in the classes, I mean, more often than not, you've got 3 or 4 Coopers at the back, and week in, week out, they have some fantastic racing. And it just goes to show you don't need to have more than that. Our numbers in Open are very limited this year, but if you look at Ross and Steve at the last meeting, they were just racing hammer and tong. And actually, it's great that we get complimented by by our clerks of how well our drivers are behaving, and that is another thing that really we Tom and I last year, we pushed hard for it because we didn't want this to be a crash fest. They've taken it on board, and actually with that, there's been some brilliant racing, and I think for anyone for the future looking at where they want to race, if it's a dad and a lad in a van, or a new team coming in and they want the opportunity to try something new in a more sort of family intimate situation, knowing that they're going to get good backing at good money, it's with the cars that all 3 of us absolutely adore, is the best place to be. And I think that's that's why we took the decision to invest in the YouTube and more on the social media side, because it's such a big part nowadays.
And I just want to add another comment I think is absolutely critical, and I think it's a drum that I certainly will be banging as many times as possible in each episode, is that there is a misconception that these cars are expensive to run because of where they are as well in other championships. But it's like going, no, the whole idea is this can be an affordable championship to come and race in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was what we always set out with. It was a case of looking at what the budget would be for the season, and that's put together by me and Rob. So we'd go back on historical data of what we'd need in terms of consumables through a year. We've limited tyre numbers, so then it doesn't allow somebody just to keep going throwing tyres at it. However, what it does is allow drivers to be more calculated and scientific and think about how they're going to win the championship. So we've kept our eye on costs, but also trying to keep it equal. To reiterate what Rob said, the close racing that we've had throughout the 3 classes all year, and we haven't had a single red flag, we haven't had a single real driver incident. But I cannot take my hat off to the 2 Open drivers and the 3 Cooper drivers at Thruxton. I haven't seen racing like that for a long time, and that clean. I'm very, very close, and no, really good.
And Glenn, from your perspective, taking it from the technical side and from an ex-team boss and everything, is that it must be clear that it was important to keep it within the restrained or constrained levels so that it could be affordable racing.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about the idea behind the championship, is it wasn't going to be open wallet racing. The idea is to keep the costs down as best as you can and keep it as close racing as physically possible. And I believe over the 2 years that if you look at the way the racing's been, watch live streams, all that sort of stuff, you can't get much closer racing.
No.
Then particularly at Thruxton. I mean, them 2 Open cars at Thruxton were just unreal. They were crossing the line side by side every lap for 15 laps. It was just awesome.
I think it picked up a comment.
I think it's good, and I think it's
Go on, Tom.
Sorry, it's laggy. I was going to say, and as great as live stream is, it doesn't. The cameras can only pick up so much what's happening on the grid and during that part of the race. And actually, if you get there in person, you'll see much better racing than you do on YouTube, because they're not just taking out the best part. There's so much going on out there, and the way that we split the grids off the line so that each one's having their own sort of race within a race, the cameras can't pick that up and follow it fast enough. So really, they need, if somebody's got an interest, they need to come and have a watch.
And I do take exception with you guys about that. As a commentator, it makes that blooming hard work. I can tell you that you've got all these fights to pick up on. But that was actually the point I was going to make next, was that I think I'm pretty sure I even said it in the Castle Coombe commentary, is that you are guaranteed to be involved in a fight, in a race. Because it doesn't matter where you are in the field, you are going to be involved in a race with somebody. And that was one thing that just massively stood out to me, that because you don't really want to have a glorified test day where you're on your own. And it was just these multiple clumps of cars having their own fights. It didn't matter.
That was all on the
I mean, and that just shows that the regulations that between us managed to get together for this year have worked. Yeah. What we've done is promote good, clean, close racing. So that's down to the regs and obviously the abilities of the drivers. You can't do any of it without the drivers at the end of the day.
No, exactly. And I think that hopefully people watching this, you'll get a feel for it. If you're involved in it, you'll know what we're already talking about. If you're interested, then make sure, if you're at a circuit where the Mini Challenge Clubsport is at, go and have a chat with the guys. They're very approachable. Even Tom is approachable. As long as there's not a full moon. If it is, then go to Rob instead. But
too right.
He's approachable as long as you've got a beer in your hand for him. You'll be fine.
Always. Even a full moon is fine if you've got a beer for him. That's fine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or a curry, that'll do him as well.
Too right.
But do go and have a chat with them, ask questions, find out. I encourage you, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm independent from these guys, and I do encourage it. The whole idea of this is that as I said, we're publicising for the drivers, the partners, what's coming up, any news or announcements. I mean, one, for example, Tom, you were saying that at Donington this weekend, you've managed to get these sims set up. What's that?
Yeah, so half the press, we've signed an initial deal with PASM, who are a simulator company. So they're going to be bringing along a number of simulators at the weekend. So drivers, family members, children, general public can come and have a go on the simulator. We're in the early throes now, putting together a competition. So probably the fastest 3 from the weekend, whoever that may be, will be entitled to a prize. We're just putting that all together. But then this relationship is not just for Donington. We're looking at building on it throughout the year, and also looking into maybe doing some stuff in the off season, and especially moving into 2025. So again, something exciting and another new announcement, even at this sort of late-ish stage during the season for our guys. So yeah.
I love the sound of that. It sounds so good, and just additional fun.
Just to let you know, Tom's got a week on it, so he can try and beat Glen and I.
Trying to move house. Trying to move house, mate. Ain't got no time for a sim.
Yeah, Your Honour. Yeah, we believe it.
Yeah.
But another one as well, Glenn, coming to you, is that I know that there was a big thing about trying to promote the do at the end of the year as well.
Yeah. So it's not really. We're trying not to promote it as an awards ceremony, because we want to celebrate a really good season with everybody, the drivers, the teams, family members, friends, everybody. So we are, obviously, the drivers do know, we've organised to have a end of season party in October, where hopefully all the drivers will bring friends, family, team members, all that sort of stuff, to get together and celebrate what so far is, and should hopefully be, for the end of the year, a very, very good season for everybody involved. And again, it's pushing on to that sort of family atmosphere within the paddock. You just want everybody to be off the track. Once they're not on the track, you just want everybody to be on the same page, helping each other, doing all that sort of thing. It's just to promote that family atmosphere with a lot, get everybody involved.
Love it. I like the sound of it. I'd never heard it put that way. Yes, there might be some awards dished out there, but it's not an awards evening. It is a end of season party for everybody. I think that makes complete sense. So keep your eyes peeled to that. The big one is that hopefully everyone can see it, is that this is run by guys that know minis, know motorsport, and they're doing it for passion about it being what they wish it could be when they were driving back in the day. Sorry, guys, but it's really exciting. So much more to come. We're going to be having live shows of this talk show where we're going to get some of you drivers on, some of you partners on. Who knows what else? We might have someone from BARC on. You know, there's so many possibilities, and it will be live. So even those watching, and it's going to be even that's going to be get involved and have some banter on the conversations that I'll put up on screen. You can't get away anonymously, by the way. It will have your name and your profile photo, but it's all part of the fun that it becomes an interactive show. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll be announcing all of that. Tom, I'm going to go around each of you. Anything else that we need that you wanted to make sure that we covered in this first episode?
No, not really. I think it's just introducing the idea, and it's not about us three babbling on, talking about sort of the good old days. This is really about the drivers and the commercial partners, and we really want to be building on that. So after every event, there will be a show, and the certain drivers will be asked to come on, and that's when they can have their time to be interviewed, probably in a bit more depth, and also talk about why they go racing. We can find out a bit more about them, really. So I'm really excited.
I love it. Well, I was going to go to Rob next, but he's disappeared momentarily. He'll be back in a second. Don't worry.
I think he's got to put another 50p in electric meter. Yeah.
Well, either that or he's just feeding the hamster a few more, sunflower seeds and that'll power it up. We'll be back in a minute. But Glenn, anything else that you'd like to say at this stage?
Well, just following on from what Tom was saying, we've used this as a platform to promote the drivers, the championship, make sure people are aware that nothing's being stood still. There's always stuff going on in the background to develop both the championship and that side of things. But we want to use it to promote the drivers, because if future drivers see what can be done, then they'll jump on board as well, because they can see what the benefits are to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
go on, Tom.
I was going to say, we totally recognise that. I used to compete. I have competed with teams, but I also used to compete when I first met you, Chris, on a van and trailer with my family around me, my friends, and half the time without any of that, I couldn't have gone racing. And sometimes they fall by the wayside, and in the public eye. So really, it gives our drivers a bit of time to thank those people publicly, and their sponsors. Because I know they all work really hard to get the budget together to go racing. And although it's not a big budget compared to some other platforms, and we don't want to compete with those platforms, they still should be, should have their time. And that's what this is about, and making them feel special.
100% agree. And I think we all did well to keep waffling there for a little while, because Rob's come back again. Welcome back, Rob.
What happened there?
We thought you just lost interest.
I was just coming to my bit and they've got cut off, but never mind.
Well, you're all right. You missed everyone else's, but we were just literally about to come to you. Any last words that you want to add about this?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see some drivers on here. I want to see some of our partners on here. And the reason for that is I don't want to be on here because I've got a face for radio. No, seriously, we need people involved, and I think the drivers need to use these tools, and if they use these tools, they're going to get the benefits, and they're going to enjoy the championship. And it's as we've been saying, it's about being part of the family, putting a bit in to get a great deal out. I think that's really all I want to say. I think that we're going to be pushing this over the coming months. We want to make the best championship we can for next year. We've got a fantastic starting point, so really looking forward to it.
And genuinely, the thing that we find when I do these shows for different people is that it becomes an extension of that community. So get involved when we're putting these on live. It'll be in the evenings, and we'll have a drink in hand in future episodes, I'm sure. And we'll have a bit of a chat, a bit of banter, a bit of promotion, a bit of finding out some of the backstory. So absolutely, I think that sums it up perfectly. Well, gents, unless there's anything else that you need to say, I think that wraps up episode 1.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much, Chris.
Well done.
Well, thanks, gents. What I'm going to do, don't you go anywhere, you three, because what we're going to do is we'll play you out with the outro, and it will come back with the sponsors at the end, and then I shall just speak to you off air in a second. But for everybody else that's watching this back, this is a recorded. Next time it will be live. Thank you for watching it. and keep in touch. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll have more of it, and it's going to be even funnier, I'm sure, as we go along. But from these three motley crew and myself, Chris Dawes, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Good night, Muppets.
Cheers all.
See you, bye. Bye, bye, bye.
Good night, all.